Hello to parents and students. Welcome back to Term 3 with a little update from Mr. Arnold, Mr. West and I about the events coming up in Semester 2 leading towards our formal mystery bus tour and graduation. The things that we're going to discuss today in this short video will be an address from Mr. West, our Executive Principal. I'm going to talk through what the really important things are in Term 3, what's happening in Term 4, a review of our graduation week events, our timelines for graduation week events, and our eligibility for graduation week events. So we're going to go through those today in this short video. For now, I'm going to hand over to Mr. West for his Executive Principal address.
Thank you, Mrs. Pantano, and good morning or good afternoon to our Year 12 parents, carers, and most importantly to our students. Well, welcome back to your final semester of schooling and what's ultimately going to be the most important semester for our Year 12 students to date. Can I start by saying once again just how proud the staff at Bellbird Park are of this cohort. The growth and maturity that our Year 12s have displayed over the past couple of years has been simply outstanding, and we couldn't be more proud of this bunch of fine young students. So heading into this final semester is going to be filled with emotion for some of our students who are feeling really excited that their schooling journey is coming to an end, while others might be probably a bit nervous about what 2023 might look like. In any case, the staff here at Bellbird Park are here to support every student so that they finish Year 12 with absolutely no regrets. So I hope you find this video information presentation by our senior schooling team really informative as we communicate to our Year 12 community the important final milestones that our Year 12s need to tick off before we celebrate at the formal and graduation at the end of this year. So thank you once again, parents, for your support of Bellbird Park and for your child.
Term 3 of Year 12 is actually our penultimate term or the second to last term of your schooling. But what I can say is Term 3 is a really, really important term for our Year 12s. It's really important for their attendance, that they're here every day so they can finish off their vocational education and training qualifications. They need to be finished by the end of this term. That they are attending all of their training sessions with their trainers for their school-based traineeship and completing all their hours. That for our general subjects, this is actually the last piece of assessment before their external exam. So the best chance to get some more internal results so that they've got the best chance of getting the best grade and setting themselves up for success in their external assessment next term. For our applied subject students, this term's really, really important because if they do a really good job and pass this term, then they're really setting themselves up to ensure they exit with a C at the end or above, which is what we need to get their QCE. Remembering that our students don't have their QCE yet. Some of them seem to think that they've got these projected points and that they've got them yet. Those points that they're getting on their portal are only when they exit at the end of the year with a C or above or complete their VET. So at this point in time, nobody has their QCE. So Term 3 and Term 4 are really, really important. This term will also be starting some additional QCE top-ups. These top-ups are for our students that need a few more QCE credits to ensure they graduate with their QCE, so we'll be starting that. For our students that wish to apply to TAFE or university for next year, we'll be doing our QTAC and TAFE applications this term, so there'll be a letter coming home via email shortly with some booking dates to come in and book a meeting with the senior schooling team to do your QTAC applications and your TAFE applications. The other things that will be happening this term is that our senior schooling team will be meeting with all of the Year 12 students and making sure that they have a verified pathway for the end of the year. So making sure that everybody has something to go to at the end of this year, ready for what we call Year 13. So Term 3 is really, really important. It's really, really important for our attendance too, to make sure that we keep up to that 90% attendance so that we can have the best chance of being eligible for our end of year events. We want everyone to be able to go to our end of year events, which is why we're being really supportive and really having lots of chats with students about what they need to get there. Term 4 is a really short term. It's only a 7-week term for our Year 12 students. So in week 1, week 2 and week 3 of next term, it's regular classes, meaning students need to be in each and every lesson every day They'll be finishing off their last pieces of assessment in their applied subjects. They'll be doing any minor fix-ups in their vocational education and training subjects. And in our general subjects, they'll be doing targeted tutorials in preparation for the external exam that they'll have that starts in week 4. In week 4 of the term, that the program changes. So what will happen is that for our external exam students, so our general subject students, they will actually go into what we call study classes. So they will be at home studying, and then there'll be scheduled tutorials for them to come into. There'll also be specific days and times that they have to come in and do their QCAA external exams. Now, these exams must be sat. And if the students do not come, they must have a medical certificate that is given to me on that day. It's really important. For those students that are in vet and applied subjects, you will only be required to attend in weeks 4 to 6 if you have got outstanding work or you are not on track for your QCE. So if you have finished all your work, you pass all your subjects, you've done all your vet quals, you will be at home in weeks 4 to 6. In week 7, is what we will call our alternate week program. This is our very, very last week of school, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about what happens in that week shortly.
Here we have the final week of Year 12's program set up for you guys. So this is what we're going to be doing in our final week. Basically, it's an alternate program for the week, so there's no classes. But we will be having lots of really important events and certificates that we need to obtain, as well as special guests that are coming in. Probably the really big important thing that we are doing here, which you have to get done to make sure that you get your QCE, is doing our final first aid certificates. Okay, so that means that everyone has to do that first aid course for us to graduate. And that one we're achieving in that final week. So compulsory, absolutely mandatory attendance for that alternate program. As you can see, that's running on the Monday. On the Tuesday, we have our final senior assembly. Compulsory attendance, have to come to that one, really important. That's only going to be for the very first part of the morning, okay, just period 1. As soon as that ceremony is over, you guys get to leave and you go and get ready for your formal. So that's everything from 10 in the morning onwards, right up until 5:30 is when we're going to start having arrivals at the senior formal, okay. That one is at the Ipswich Rail Museum. It's going to run all the way up until 11 o'clock at night, and then we are heading off for the mystery bus tour. Now, I can't tell you too much about the mystery bus tour, but it's a mystery, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for it that night. Lucky you guys, we get recovery from the formal and the mystery bus tour on Wednesday, so there's no attendance required at all on the Wednesday. There's no school that day, nothing going on the Wednesday. However, we get back into that alternate program on the Thursday, the 17th of November, and that one's a full school day. And again, really important that you're there, compulsory attendance, so you've got to get those certificates done. Lastly, very last thing that we do on the Friday is graduation, okay? Again, compulsory attendance. Now, that one is not here at school. It is out at the Ipswich Civic Centre, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about what that's going to look like. So, senior formal. Some really important messages here around formal, okay? Number 1 is that it's optional, all right? It is not mandatory, it's not compulsory, you don't have to go to formal, and it is extracurricular, okay? Which means that there's certain guidelines that we've talked about that you need to meet in order to go to an extracurricular event. And that's the clearance process that we spoke about in week 1, and there's a form that goes with it as well. So this is happening, like we said, on Tuesday the 15th. It's over at the Ipswich Railway Museum, a really beautiful venue. It looks great. It's going to be awesome. From 5:30 arrivals, okay, up until about 6, and then we'll start the whole proceedings for the evening, finishing at 11 that night. If you do want to do any kind of special car hire or things like that, there is going to be a set process for that. So you do have to follow the cones all the way around and get dropped off. And there is going to be a red carpet for you to walk down as you enter the venue, which is really exciting. It looks really lovely. Dress code is formal, right? It's a formal dinner, which means boys, it's a tux or a suit, right? Full formal dress. It's not semi anymore. It's fully formal. Girls, this is a gown, a full length evening gown, or a cocktail dress or something along those lines. The biggest thing I can say about this is modest options, okay? make sure that we are wearing something that's appropriate for a school function. Okay, we're not showing too much skin or anything like that. So if you're not sure about your dress, check in with me or Miss Pantano as well. Talk to your pathways teacher, show us what you're thinking of wearing, and if you're not quite sure, we can give you some advice. But again, if you show up in something that's not appropriate, you might be asked to leave, okay? Closed event. So this means that it is only for Year 12 Bellbird Park students. So we're not having anyone from other grades attending. There is no one from outside of school attending. This is only for Year 12. So if you're thinking of bringing someone as a date, it's just not happening, okay? Now, the cost for the formal is $100. That will cover your evening, as well as all of the different events and things like that we've got going on, the activities, the decorations, the food, everything. Okay, so $100 per student, which is quite reasonable. Mystery bus tour, very exciting. Okay, so mystery bus, again, optional, extra. It's not compulsory, you don't have to go. However, we are hoping to get as many people as possible. It's going to be a lot of fun. You do need to go through that clearance process to be able to go on the mystery bus tour. This is Tuesday evening, right? So finishing up Wednesday morning. So we'll go straight from the formal and we'll go through our first of 4 mystery locations or venues. And we'll get back to Bellbird Park and we'll arrive back here at school about 9:30 the next day. 4 locations that we're doing. And so you're covered for your bus as well as the entrance and everything and some food along the evening. So that's about $160 for everyone. But we're hoping that will be much cheaper because we've done a fair amount of fundraising. We've still got a fair bit to go and all of our proceeds are going towards the mystery bus tour. So I'm hoping we can get that price down considerably before the end of the year. What you want to wear, I guess, is something casual, something active, I guess, that you can move around in comfortably. Closed-in shoes are an absolute necessity, okay? You cannot go to some of these venues without closed-in shoes. Again, it's a school event, all right? So all of our normal rules and behaviour expectations are still happening, and it's going to be there with lots of teachers there at the time to supervise you through the entire evening, okay? Graduation. Graduation's happening the very last day, okay, that's Friday the 18th, and this is your final thing that you'll do in that morning. Again, not here at school, it's over at the Ipswich Civic Centre, okay, so we'll arrive at 8:40 and we'll kick off there a little bit later. I want every single student there in full formal uniform. It means you must have a tie, you must be looking absolutely smick. Don't get to walk across the stage if you're not in uniform. This is a ticketed event. Okay, there is a cost for those tickets. They're $5 per ticket. And your parents, if they do want to come, or caregivers, or whoever it is, must purchase a ticket. Okay, we'll put a link out for those tickets a little bit later in the term, and then you'll be able to purchase. Now, you as a student don't need a ticket. That's covered. But if you do want to bring anyone along, you do need to have a ticket. So we'll do this in a couple of rounds. We'll open up the first round of tickets, and there's a limit of 3 per family. Okay, so everyone gets 3 tickets each. That's how many we can fit in the room. If some people don't use that 3rd ticket or any of their tickets for whatever reason, those leftover tickets will go to a second round, a second offering, and it'll open up, and that will be for any leftover tickets. You can purchase those as well if you do want to bring more than 3 people. All right. Going to be a really great event. I'm looking forward to everything in the final week, and let's make sure we get our clearance done between now and then, okay?
We would really, really love to see all of our Year 12s at our formal and mystery bus tour. Our graduation is compulsory, so all students will need to be there. To get to the formal and the mystery bus tour, we've had a set of, engagement expectations. We've had this the whole way through their schooling journey, the same expectations for the semi-formal, the same expectations again for our senior jerseys. So the expectations haven't changed. We've continued those expectations. So they're always around attendance, achievement, effort and behaviour, and our uniform and equipment. Okay, so we're working really hard with our students this term to make sure that they meet these expectations so they can get to our end of year events. Please have a chat to your student around where they're sitting with their attendance. Are they at 90%? Do they have their absences explained? Any extended absences supported by a medical certificate or a positive RAT test if it's for COVID? You know, have your students submitted all their assessment? Are they on track to get their QCE? Where are they sitting with their VET completion? Now, we're having meetings with all of our students, particularly those that look like they need a bit of an additional support to meet these engagement expectations. You know, now's a really big term to keep up our expectations around effort and behaviour. We really want to make sure our students are continuing to follow our RISE values in line with our positive behaviour for learning matrix that we have here at Bellbird Park. The last things we need to make sure our students continue to bring their laptops, really, really important, and continue to wear our uniform correctly. Our uniform in senior needs to be worn correctly each and every day up until they graduate on our last day in graduation at the Ipswich Civic Centre. So these expectations we talk about these every week at year level assembly, and we talk to students on an individual basis as well if they need a little bit of support. So please chat to your students about this. If you're wondering where your student's sitting, please reach out to a member of the senior schooling team. We're happy to chat through with you. But we really want to support all our students to get to the end of year events. There are a number of timelines that we need to follow to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to clear to get to these end of year events, but also to make payments, but also so that we can make final numbers to the venues that we are working with to give them enough time to cater and run the events smoothly. So I'm just going to go through our timeline. So this term, the mystery bus tour and formal clearance forms open in week 6. So this is a clearance form similar to our jerseys and similar to our semi-formal, where the students will need to have their subjects signed off by each of their teachers. So the teachers will sign off, are they on track for their QCE in their subject, if they completed their assessment? They'll then need to be signed off by Mr. Arnold or myself for their attendance. They'll also need to be signed off by the college finance officer for having their school fees paid. So by the end of this term, so week 10, clearance forms are due. So all payments need to be made as well. So these payments are your school fees. Students' school fees need to be paid by the end of this term. And I'm going to arrange for another statement to be sent out via email following the release of this video. Please check your junk mail. Sometimes the invoices go to the junk mail there. So mystery bus and formal clearance is a clearance form that'll come out in week 6 and will close in week 10. When we start the very first day of next term, term 4, those students that have successfully cleared to go to the mystery bus tour and the formal will be issued an invitation. Upon issue of the invitation, they'll also be invoiced the payment for the mystery bus tour and the formal. So they should be the only fees left on your student's account, day 1 of term 4, and you will have 4 weeks to clear those payments as well to those end of year events. The last thing that we will talk about in regards to our timelines is our graduation tickets. So graduation tickets, the round 1 bookings will be open in week 1 and 2 of term 4. As Mr. Arnold talked about, there'll be a limit of 3 tickets per family. Students are not required to have a ticket, they've already got one. The tickets will be $5, they'll be managed by the Civic Centre. At the end of week 2, any spare tickets that are left will be released back to families for families to purchase additional tickets. And that will be in week 3 and week 4 of term 4. What we want is we want all our mystery bus tour, formal and graduation sorted out by week 4. So week 5 and 6 and 7, you can just enjoy with your student and they can enjoy graduating at the end of 2022. We're all here to work together as a team. We're really excited for our first year of graduates and we want to support your student. And so please reach out if there's anything we can do to help. I know the time's going to go fast very, very quickly. Thank you. Bye.